Narayanam Narayanam
Narayanam
Namaskritya
Namaskritya
Naram
Naram
Chaiva
Chaiva
Narottamam
Narottam
Devim
Devim
Saraswatim
Saraswati
Vyasam
Vyasam
Tato
Tato
Jayam
Jayam
Udirayet.
Mudraye.
So the meaning of translation of this shloka is, before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, we are supposed to chant this mantra, offering our prayers actually to Srila Vyasadeva, who is the compiler of all the Vedic literature, who wrote 18 Puranas, 108 Upanishads, 4 Vedas, and other Ityasas. Even Mahabharata was compiled by him, written by him. Actually, it was written by Ganesha, but dictated by him. So we offer our obeisances to Srila Vyasadeva and Nara Rishi, who is the incarnation of Sri Krishna, who is the Narottamam, who is the supreme amongst the men. And we offer our respectful obeisances to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, the goddess of intelligence and education. And after offering our respectful obeisances to all these personalities, when we read from the Bhagavatam, when we discuss from the Bhagavatam, by their blessings, it becomes easier for us to understand very sublime topics of the Bhagavatam. And once we understand these topics of the Bhagavatam, it helps us to live our life according to that. And when we are able to live our life according to the instructions given in the Bhagavatam, our life becomes victorious. The purpose of our life can be achieved. So this is the purport of this mantra. So I would like to start with, I would like to ask from one of you if somebody can share with me what we were discussing, what we were discussing in the last session. Some things we discussed, and I said, I will elaborate more in today's session. If someone can remember.
Shakuntala will share something.
Guru Purnima Vyas birth.
Yeah, spoke about Vyasadeva, Guru Purnima, yes.
And last you said Krishna ka anusaran na karo, balki Ram ka anusaran karo. This is what you were telling, that 4
Yes.
bull and 3 lakhs, like वो तो है नहीं अभी तप दया शौच ये नहीं है सत्य वचन.
Correct.
This is what we were discussing in the last.
That's very good. Very good. Thank you for sharing, Shakuntalaji. So yes, we were discussing these topics. Like Shakuntalaji said, that I said that we should not try to imitate Krishna's activities. We should follow his instructions, but not his activities, because we cannot. What Krishna performed, it is not easy. What to say, not easy, not possible for ordinary human beings like us to do those activities. We need to follow his instructions. And as far as the lifestyle, the activities are concerned, we should try to follow what Lord Ramachandra did. As a son, as a husband, as a brother, as a king, those kind of things, as a human being. He performed many activities which normally can be performed by a human being. But Krishna's activities cannot be performed. I would like to share with you one incident. Actually, it's a true incident, happened long time ago. Trupti ji may know, and those who are from Mumbai, they may know this suburb called Borivali in Mumbai. So this happened near the railway crossing near our place. I was living in Mumbai before coming to Hong Kong. So what happened that near the railway crossing, some loose character boys used to stay there. I mean, stand there near the Panwala shop. So when the railway crossing, that Fatak we call it, was closed, so many people had to wait before the train would pass, so that after that they could cross the railway tracks. So some young girls were waiting for the train to pass, and these boys were teasing them. So it was like, their routine kind of thing. Every day they would tease the young girls there. So some girls went and complained to police, that these boys are teasing us. and passing bad comments. So one police inspector went and spoke to those boys. First, he spoke to them very nicely. That you are, seem to be from good family, good families. So why are you doing this? It doesn't suit you. So boys being boys at that time, they said that, "No, actually we are Krishna bhaktas. We are following what Krishna used to do. Krishna also used to tease women, young girls. So we are following his footsteps." Now it seems, at that time that police inspector was knowledgeable. He was learned. He knew something about Krishna's pastime. So he said, "Okay, if you think that you're following Krishna and you're followers of Krishna," so Krishna lifted Govardhan hill on his little finger. "I challenge you, if you can lift even one brick on your little finger, if you can do that, then I will not take any actions against you. But if you are not able to do it, then I warn you that from tomorrow onwards, if any complaint I receive from these girls, I will put you in jail." So the point I want to make here, that many times it happens. Actually, you might be knowing that many Bollywood movies they make fun of Krishna's pastimes. Actually, they portray Krishna as a person of loose character, but actually it is not the case. In the Bhagavatam, as I said before, there are 12 cantos, 12 skand hai Bhagavatam mein, and Krishna Leelas are described elaborately very nicely by Srila Vyasadeva in the 10th canto. 10वें स्कंद में कृष्ण लीला का पूरा अवखान किया गया है. So we need to build up to go up to the 10th canto. We need to purify our consciousness by reading the previous 9 cantos. 9 स्कंद पढ़ने के बाद उनका अभ्यास करने के बाद हम कृष्ण की लीलाओं को थोड़ा बहुत समझ सकते हैं, सही अर्थ में समझ सकते हैं उनको. Otherwise we cannot understand Krishna's leelas. So last time in our previous discussion, I had mentioned to you that Vyasadeva, the compiler of all Vedic literature, in his Badrika ashram, after doing compilation of all this Vedic literature, he was still not satisfied. He was looking a bit dissatisfied and a bit morose also. At that time, Narada Muni appeared there, and he asked the reason from Vyasadeva that, what is the reason of your dissatisfaction? You are a very learned person. You are incarnation of Krishna. Krishna came in the form of Vyasadeva to compile the Vedic literature for the benefit of mankind. So then Vyasadeva told him that, I am also not able to understand. So please, as my guru, you tell me that what should I do so that I get satisfaction. Then Narada Muni shared with him what had happened with him. This I had mentioned to you that last time I spoke to you about Vyasadeva, and in this session, I'm going to briefly speak about Narada Muni's previous life. Narada Muni, before he was born as Brahma's son, in his previous life, he was the son of a maid servant. एक आई पुत्र थे वो, घर में जो काम करने वाली आया होती है, उनके पुत्र थे वो. So that lady, that maid servant, used to serve the sages. In India, before there was a practice during Chaturmas, जो 4 महीने होते हैं, श्रावण, भादो, अश्विनी और कार्तिक, ये 4 महीने जो होते हैं चतुर्मास, ये वर्षा ऋतु होती है. It's the monsoon season, rainy season. So the sannyasis, the mendicants, the monks, they don't travel. They stay at one place. So many great sages, they were staying in one ashram. So Narada Muni's mother was serving them. And she was very sincerely serving them. And whatever remnants would be left behind after those sages would eat, she would eat and she would share with Narada Muni. Narada Muni was a small 4-5 years old boy at that time. So Narada Muni is sharing his previous life's experience with Vyasadeva. So he told him that by eating the remnants, by eating the prasad, which was left in the patala, the plates, the leaf plates by the sages, by eating the remnants, prasad of those sages, Narada Muni's consciousness became purified. And he started understanding the discussion those sages used to have on the Vedic literature. Otherwise, 4-5 years old, small children, they don't understand the Vedic philosophy. But Narada Muni, by the mercy of the sages, by eating the prasad, which was left by the sages on the leaf plate, so Narada Muni's consciousness also became purified, and he was able to understand what the sages were talking about. So by eating the prasad of the sages and by hearing the conversation on the philosophical topics which were carried out by the sages, Narada Muni's consciousness became purified. So he said that what happened that one day, because it was a rainy season, from the bushes, one poisonous snake came and he bit his mother on his foot, on her foot. And because of the poison of the snake bite, his mother passed away. So Narada Muni now, because he had so much knowledge of the Vedic literature, so he did not feel so much of an effect of losing his mother. He thought, it is Krishna's plan, it is my destiny. And now he thought in a way that he was saying that because he became so learned, he became so jnani and so detached from the material bondage of relationships and all. He thought, this is Krishna's mercy. Now I don't have any bond, any kind of binding on me of my mother's affection. So I can travel and I can go to different places of pilgrimage and get more knowledge. So he started traveling to many places. So one place, he in a forest, he was sitting, he was meditating, and whatever he had learned from the sages about the features of the Supreme Person, he started meditating on those features, that form of the Supreme Person of Krishna. So Krishna, by his causeless mercy, he appeared in Narada Muni's heart. So when Narada Muni saw that, spontaneously, he started crying, he started weeping, and he started getting goosebumps. He was shivering. These are the symptoms of ecstasy mentioned in the Bhagavatam. When a devotee, when he hears the katha or he reads about it, Krishna bestows his mercy, his causeless mercy on the devotee because of the sincerity of the devotee. And he allows that devotee to feel that bliss, that ecstasy, spiritual ecstasy. So because of the spiritual ecstasy, Narada Muni was crying, he was getting goosebumps, and he was feeling extraordinarily happy, so blissful. But that kind of feeling did not last for too long. After a few minutes, that the form of Krishna from his heart disappeared. So Narada Muni felt very much disappointed. Then he started to meditate again and again. He made so many attempts, but he could not see that Krishna's form. So then there was a celestial voice, Akashvani, celestial sound. Narada Muni could hear that sound came that, you are able to see this form of mine, this transcendental form, for a short while. And now you will not be able to see that form anymore. But in the next life, by my mercy, you will be born as Brahma's son. And whenever you would want to see my that form, you will be able to see that. I bless you like that. So Narada Muni felt quite pacified by that blessing, which was announced by Akashvani. And he started traveling. He just was waiting for his life to be over. He did not commit suicide, like many people would think of, oh, I'm eager, I want to see Lord's form better, I end my life. Narada Muni did not do that. He just left it to the destiny. As long as he was able to live, he lived, and after that, he left his body. And it is said that in the next era, in next millennium, next yuga, when Brahma, at the end of that millennium, at the end of that yuga, when Brahma went into the Garbha of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, there are different forms of Vishnu. They'll discuss some other time. So the whole creation got annihilated and took shelter in the womb of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. So Narada Muni could understand that he also was entering into the womb of Lord Vishnu. And then in the womb of Lord Vishnu, after that night was over of Lord Brahma, when again Lord Brahma got up on the next morning, according to the Brahma's calculation, and then he started creating all the living beings according to their previous karma. So Narada Muni also was born as Brahma's son according to the blessing given to him by Krishna. So then he got the blessing of Brahma also, that he could travel anywhere without any aircraft. He could go to any planet, anywhere in the whole universe, and he would glorify, he would sing glories of Lord Krishna. Many of you might have seen, the image which we witness in many Bollywood movies. They show Narada Muni's
Narayan.
always chanting Narayan, Narayan. But sometimes, or rather most of the time, they make fun of him. Like, they think that Narada Muni is the one who pokes fire here and there, right? Many of you may know that. And in our social kind of gatherings also, sometimes it happens. If we see somebody is, trying to say things, confidential things of other person, like we say chugli khana. So we say that don't be like Narada Muni. But Narada Muni is not like that. He is very elevated devotee of Krishna. So we should not belittle such an highly elevated personality according to our misconception or narrow-mindedness. So Narada Muni travels all around the universe, glorifying the Leelas, Krishna Leelas. So one day, while traveling, he happened to go to Vrindavan. Because when he was traveling on the Earth planet, before he had heard that, Earth planet is blessed by Lord Krishna because Lord Krishna appeared on this Earth planet 5,500 years ago. And Krishna appears in different forms, in different yugas on the Earth planet. So because of the presence of the Lord, the Earth planet is blessed. In many ways, it is said in the Puranas, in the scriptures, that Earth planet is more blessed than the heavenly planets. And because we are not connected with the spirituality, spiritual strength of the Earth planet, we feel miserable here. And many of us, we might have heard people, they have the desire to go to the heavenly planets to enjoy. Because this kind of things we have been hearing from our childhood, from our elders, that we should do pious activities so that we can get elevated to the Swarga Loka, to heavenly planets. But actually, heavenly planets also, all the heavenly planets, they are in the material world. They are not in the spiritual world. And there also the life is limited. Though the lifespan, the duration of life is much, much more longer than what we see on that planet. The demigods, they live very long life. So many people, they think that you should go to Swarga. And that's why whenever anybody passes away, we say that uska Swargavas ho gaya. Because that is a strong kind of desire people have. We have to go to Swarga. So human form of life is not meant for going to Swarga Loka. Human form of life is meant for getting liberated. Just going beyond Swarga Loka to the spiritual world, from where nobody returns. When anyone goes to Swarga Loka, after the pious activities account is exhausted, the person is to come back to the Earth planet. So we have to have that goal in mind, that we have to go beyond the Swarga Loka to the Vaikuntha planet, to the Swarga Loka. To the spiritual world, Adhyatmik Loka. So Narada Muni, when he came to the Earth planet and he heard that Earth planet is very beautiful and where so much potency is there because of the different incarnations of Krishna happen to be here. So it has spiritual potencies. So in Kali Yuga, when he came here in the beginning of Kali Yuga, after Krishna left, so Narada Muni saw that so much of degradation had happened on the Earth planet. People, they started cheating each other. Quarrel was happening. For small things, people were quarreling with each other. Family members, there were no affection, no true affection. Everybody became so selfish. Before, also, you might have heard from your parents, or you might have personally experienced also, we used to say that before we used to use things to make people happy. We used to acquire things to make people happy. Now we use people to acquire things. The things have changed. Am I right?
Correct.
Things have changed a lot. So Narada Muni saw after Krishna left this planet, the Kali Yuga started. So Narada Muni saw those kind of things were happening. People were fighting so much unnecessarily. So he went to so many places. Then he arrived in Vrindavan. When he reached Vrindavan, he saw one lady, young lady, was crying profusely. And in her lap, there were two old men lying. Their heads were in this young lady's lap. So Narada Muni was surprised. Then he asked this lady, "Who are you? Why are you crying so much? And who are these old men who are looking so weak? They cannot move their limbs on their own. They cannot even control the eyelids. Those old men, their eyelids also were opening with so much of difficulty." So Narada Muni was surprised to see that. So that young lady told him that she was Bhakti Devi. And those two old men, they were Jnana and Vairagya, knowledge and renunciation. So Narada Muni understood that in Kali Yuga, people will be lacking knowledge. That's why the knowledge had become so old. And Vairagya also, people won't be detached. So there will be so much attachment. We have so much of attachment. For small things, we become so attached. So to expect detachment from people in Kali Yuga, it is very difficult, next to impossible. So because Vairagya and Jnana, they won't be so much powerful, they won't have so much power in Kali Yuga. That's why they had become very old. And Bhakti Devi, particularly in Vrindavan, it flourishes. So then Bhakti Devi told Narada Muni that she was born in the southern part of India, Dravida, and then she grew up in Karnataka. And when she came to Maharashtra, she acquired more strength. But when she left Maharashtra, she went to Gujarat, she became very weak. Because in Gujarat, she saw people were very deceptive at that time. Now, some of you may be surprised to hear that. Actually, nowadays, if we see, comparatively, people who are from Gujarati community, they are more pious, comparatively, compared to other communities. But at that time, Bhakti Devi was telling Narada Muni that in Gujarat, she became very feeble, very weak. And then somehow, she came to Vrindavan. And as soon as she arrived in Vrindavan, she regained her youth. So Bhakti Devi is narrating her story to Narada Muni. And then Narada Muni saw that there were so many young women serving Bhakti Devi. And they were trying to wake those old men, Jnana and Vairagya, but they were not succeeding in waking them up. So Narada Muni asked Bhakti Devi, who are these young women who are serving you? Then Bhakti Devi said that these are the personified places of pilgrimage, rivers, holy rivers. Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, those kind of rivers are there. And they were serving Bhakti Devi. But still, in spite of being served by these holy rivers, personified holy rivers, Jnana and Vairagya could not regain youth. So Bhakti Devi requested Narada Muni, please help me so that my sons, they become young again. So Narada Muni went to different places of pilgrimage, meeting different sages and asking them this question, how can he help Bhakti Devi so that her sons who have become very old at the beginning of Kali Yuga, they can become young again. They can regain their youth and the vitality. So nobody could give him proper answer. Then Narada Muni met Brahma's 4 sons, Kumaras, headed by Shanaka Rishi. So he asked the same question from them. And 4 Kumaras told Narada Muni that he is son of Brahma. He should go back to his father, Brahma, and learn Bhagvatam from Lord Brahma. And after learning Bhagavatam from Brahma, he should go to Bhakti Devi and recite the Bhagavatam to her. Now, before that, Narada Muni tried so many things to make Bhakti Devi's 2 sons, Jnana and Vairagya, young again. He recited all the scriptures, even Gita shlokas also. He recited in their ears. So first he tried to wake them up with his hands. So, like it is said, karma. By karma also, he could not succeed to help Bhakti Devi's 2 sons, Jnana and Vairagya. Then he recited different shlokas from different Vedas in their ears. So that kind of activity also, dharma activity also, could not help Bhakti Devi's sons. And then he visited different places of pilgrimage. When he heard this instruction from the 4 Kumaras, then he went to Brahmaloka and he learned Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. First he learned Chaturshloki Bhagavatam. And later on, that Bhagavatam he came and recited in front of Bhakti Devi and her 2 sons. And then hearing the shlokas of Bhagavatam, Jnana and Vairagya regained their youth. So from this we can understand this whole Mahatmya is mentioned in Padma Purana, one of the Puranas. In the beginning of Padma Purana, this Mahatmya of Bhagavatam is mentioned. Last time I had asked you, I had requested you very humbly to take a vow that you will start reading Bhagavatam. And all of you promised, all of you took a vow 2 weeks ago. How many of you have been doing that?
I did.
Very good. Very good.
Well,
So
I
see,
was not
uh,
there, Vinod ji, मैं तो नहीं थी last time, so I will have to take the vow today.
okay. Yes, please do that.
Indra will have to share this, but I mean, कहाँ से मैं पढ़ूंगी?
भागवतम का पूरा जो सेट है, यदि आपको चाहिए, you can go to any ISKCON temple
You
and
can
you
buy
can,
it on the net, I guess.
yeah, you can buy from the net also.
Ma'am, Geeta Press Gorakhpur website. You
Correct, correct.
can
Geeta
get
Press
it.
गोरखपुर का भी है.
I तो
सबको भेज दो. Thinking.
okay. I found it on at my home only. It is 1993 printed.
हमारे पास
हाँ.
है ना बेबी, हम सबके पास
This
है.
one, it's very old,
Yes,
but
yes,
1993. So we have
yes.
वाह,
some collection too.
क्या बात है.
Started.
So the Bhagavatam which we refer to, we have, Bhagavatam discourse every morning at ISKCON temple in Hong Kong from 7:40 to 8:30 or 8:45 every morning. During the COVID time, the devotees were giving discourses from their homes. Yesterday I also gave discourse from home, but now the temple has reopened after the social distancing has been relaxed. So those who are in Hong Kong, please, if you can, in the morning, please come to the temple in Chimsachui. So 7:40, the Bhagavatam class, discourse on Bhagavatam starts. So we always read from the Bhagavatam, which was written by Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of the Hare Krishna movement, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The purports are so much in detail. So this is what one of the things, I was talking to Varshaji about, that normally the Bhagavad Sapta, it is very common concept in India. And some Indian families, they do overseas also, like in Hong Kong also. Once, one family, somebody passed away in their family. So that person approached me and told me that, if I can do the Bhagavad Sapta. So I agreed. I said, I can do it, but I cannot sit whole day. Normally, the person has to sit whole day and read from Bhagavatam. And in the evening for 1 or 2 hours, he summarizes what he read throughout the day. So for that Bhagavad Sapta also, there is a particular edition of Bhagavatam, which is normally used by the different priests on such occasions. But if we want to read Bhagavatam thoroughly, we want to study it properly, then it takes very long time. This is what I was telling Vashaji, that if you allow me, if all of you are agreeable, I can go into more detail instead of just, for the sake of completing it in 1 week, we complete it in like 7 Thursdays. So these kind of scriptures, the Ityasas, we need to understand the teaching, not only the subjects we have to discuss, but we need to understand what is the essence of that subject matter, what we are discussing. Then only the purpose of reading from the scriptures is fulfilled. Otherwise, it's just, it becomes like a formality. So there are many professional preachers, many professional kathakars. They do kathas sapta. Of course, no offense to them. Something is better than nothing. But when we have time and everybody is interested, then better we should take the full advantage of this, our gathering. And we should make it interactive. While I'm talking about something, if you have any question, please raise your hand and you can put forward the question so that it can make it more interactive and more interesting. So coming back to the point, so that Chaturshloki Bhagavatam was recited by Narada Muni to Bhakti Devi, and when Jnana and Vairagya heard, they became young again. So now the whole Katha, now this fourth Chaturshloki Bhagavatam was elaborated by Vyasadeva on the instructions of Narada Muni. So Narada Muni told Vyasadeva that he is looking so dissatisfied, so morose, because he has not touched the essence of the Vedas. The Vedanta Sutras he has compiled, no problem with that. But he said in Kali Yuga, people will not be so much interested. They will not have so much intelligence also to understand the Vedas. So to make it easier for people of Kali Yuga, he told Vyasadeva, Narada Muni told Vyasadeva, that better you directly give them what in the human form of life, they are supposed to learn and practice. And when they do that, then their purpose of the goal of human life will be achieved. So Vyasadeva, he elaborated that Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, and then he wrote Bhagavatam in 12 different cantos, 12 skand. Uski rachana Vyasadeva ne ki. And that whole Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva taught his son, Shukadeva Goswami. And Shukadeva Goswami, he narrated that whole Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj at the bank of Ganges when Parikshit Maharaj was about to die. He had only 7 days left in his life. And I said, once I was talking about this incident, all of us also, we have 7 days of life. Correct? Correct or not? Because people, they die any of these 7 days, right? From Sunday to Saturday. There are no 8 days, 9 days in a week. So we also have this limited period of life. At least Parikshit Maharaj had 7 days. He was cursed to be bitten by Takshat snake, the king of snakes, on the 7th day. So at least he had that guarantee, that period, that 7 days he will be alive. On the 7th day only he would be bitten by the snake and he would die. We don't have that much time also, right? We don't have that guarantee that we can live for 7 days. So we need to take advantage of this human form of life. So coming back to this point, so Shukadeva Goswami, he narrated that whole Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj within 7 days. And then at that time, in the gathering of the sages, it was not only Parikshit Maharaj sitting there, many sages also were sitting there. And one of the sages, who is also prime disciple of Srila Vyasadeva, Suta Goswami, he happened to be there. So he heard the whole Bhagavatam. Now see, from this we need to understand, in those days, people's memory was very sharp. They did not have to use any computer or any iPhone or any notebook to note down what the sages were saying, what the Shukadeva Goswami was talking about. Suta Goswami heard the whole conversation and he remembered everything. And what he heard, word by word, he narrated that whole Bhagavatam, the Katha of whole Bhagavatam, in the assembly of the sages, 88,000 sages, headed by Shaunaka Rishi. These sages, 88,000 sages, 88,000 Rishigan, headed by Shaunaka Rishi, they gathered together at the place called Niyamasharanya. We talked about it some time ago. If someone remembers, what place is that, Niyamasharanya?
I don't remember.
It's a place in northern India. In Bhagavad Gita, you might have read the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, in which Krishna showed the gigantic form, Virat Swarup, to Arjuna.
Yes.
Correct?
Mm.
So the Virat Swarup is like the material form of Krishna. In that, Krishna says, the rivers are like his veins, the mountains are like his bones, like that. So that form is like, a human form, that Virat Swarup. Now in that, it is said in the Vedic literature, can I ask you a question, that which is the central point in our body? Which one is the central point in our body? मध्य बिंदु कौन सी है हमारे शरीर में?
Nabi, either
Nabi.
or our brain, one of the two, or our heart, 3.
The central point is Nabi,
Nabi.
Okay.
our belly button, right? See, when a baby is in the womb of the mother, all the nutrient baby receives through the belly button. According to the yogic philosophy, it is the epicenter of 72,000 nadis, 72,000 energy channels. So that's the Madhya Bindu, that's the central point in our body. So similarly, in the Virat Swarup of Krishna, the central point is Niyamasharanya. So according to the yogic philosophy in Ayurveda, it is said if somebody has any health issue, first thing is to check whether the person's belly button is at the right place or not. Manipur chakra. So if that Manipur chakra is right, then the other things, simple things, what can be done to correct the health issues, then those remedies will work. But if with Manipur chakra, the belly button, if it is not at the right place, no matter how many other treatments are given, the effect of those treatments will be very limited. So it is said in our scriptures, the main central point of the Virat Swarup of Krishna, which he showed to Arjuna, is the Niyamasharanya. So the sages chose that place, the central point of the whole universe. So they said, if that whatever yagnas or whatever pious activities, spiritual activities are performed in the central point of the universe, the creatures in the whole universe will benefit. Like if the treatment is done on the belly button, the whole body benefits. So that's why the sages, they chose that point. Once our guru, His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, he was giving discourse on the Bhagvatam in our ISKCON Hong Kong temple. So he was talking about this point. So he said that if you ask an American, what is the central point of the universe? An American person will say New York. If you ask in Chinese, he will say Beijing. Correct? So different people will get different answers. So our Guru said, we believe in the scriptures. We believe in the Shastras, which are the most ancient literature. So in the Shastras, the sages, they say, Rishis, they say, the central point of the universe is Niyamasharanya, which is in the northern part of India. So sages, they chose that point.
What is the current name or current city? Which city is this?
City, I'm not sure, but the place is called still Niyamasharanya. वो गंगा के तट पर है कहीं पे.
मैम आप
can check that.
I said we can.
It's in Lucknow. It's very near to Lucknow. Sorry, it's very near to Lucknow. Naimisharan.
It is still named as Naimisharan only. UP.
Yeah, the name will be same.
In Lucknow. In Lucknow, yeah.
Yeah, so the name is the same. So you can check geographically where it is exactly located.
It's in Lucknow. Lucknow,
Okay,
UP,
you.
Lucknow.
Thank you. Yeah, so northern part of India. So coming back to the point, so 88,000 sages headed by Shaunaka Rishi, they gathered there to perform a big yagna for the benefit of the whole universe, all living beings in the universe. So see, this is the beauty of our Vedic culture. The sages also, they were performing the yagna, they chose that place so that all the creatures created by Brahma in the whole universe, everybody from ant to elephant, from demons to demigods, राक्षस गण को भी उसका लाभ मिलना चाहिए, कोई भी इनसे वंचित नहीं रहना चाहिए. Nobody should be kind of be left out. कोई भी इससे वंचित नहीं रहना चाहिए. This is the beauty of our Vedic culture. So they, with that kind of thought, noble thought, they gathered together. At that time, Suta Goswami arrived there. Now Suta Goswami was much younger to Shaunaka Rishi. Shaunaka Rishi was one of the oldest among the all 88,000 sages. Now Suta Goswami was much younger biologically, but still, out of respect, Shaunaka Rishi and all the 88,000 sages, they got up out of respect towards Suta Goswami. Now I would touch this point a little bit to discuss a little bit more detail. Suta Goswami, he was not from a Brahmin family. Normally we say the Vedic literature and this ज्ञान की बातें सब जो ब्राह्मण परिवार से होते हैं वही कर सकते हैं. It is not true. It is not necessary. It is not only limited to the Brahmin class people. So Suta Goswami was from a very low class family. जैसे महाभारत में आपने पढ़ा होगा सूत पुत्र कर्ण, right? So he was known as Suta Putra, very low class family. That's why they used to tease him. Other Kshatriya warriors, they used to be very sarcastically, would speak to Karna very sarcastically. अभी भी हमारे भारत में विशेषकर मुंबई में आपने देखा होगा जो कारपेंटर लोग आते हैं तो हम उनको सुतार बोलते हैं. Have you heard that? उन्हें सुतार कहा जाता है.
हम सुथारी.
Ah, so correct. So they are from low class people. So Suta Goswami, he was from a low class family, but because he was accepted by Srila Vyasadeva as his disciple, and when he learned the whole Vedic literature under the guidance of Srila Vyasadeva, who is incarnation of Krishna, he got elevated. From Suta, he became a great sage. So from this, we can understand, that our Vedic philosophy, our Vedic culture, ancient time, people were very broad-minded. They were not narrow-minded. All these kind of things were, kind of twisted and misrepresented by the British and people who were hired by British, that our Vedic culture caused so much of discrimination. There was no equality, so much of inequality in the society. People were divided in different caste system. Actually, it was not a caste system. It was Varna and Ashram. It is not caste system. So some other time we will discuss more on that. So Suta Goswami, coming to the point, though he was from a very low class, socially speaking, very low class family, but spiritually, he became elevated because he was a disciple of Srila Vyasadeva. So because he was very learned, and Shaunaka Rishi and other 88,000 rishis, they knew about it. So out of respect, though he was younger to them, out of respect towards because of his knowledge, they got up and offered him a very nice seat to sit. And then Shaunaka Rishi asked him this question, where was he coming from? So Suta Goswami told them that, he happened to hear the Bhagvatam, whole Bhagvatam, recited by Shukadeva Goswami at the bank of Ganges, Ganga ke tat par. I mean, Parikshit Maharaj wanted to hear that. And then Shaunaka Rishi said, can you narrate the whole Bhagavatam to us? So Suta Goswami was so pleased to hear that kind of request from Shaunaka Rishi. Because if you remember, once, while we were having discussion, I told you in the scriptures it is mentioned, when these kind of sublime topics are discussed, so the person who speaks, jo vakta hota hai, person who listens, jo shrota hota hai, or jo vyakti prashna karta hai, the person who asks questions. And above these three categories, all these three categories, they get same kind of benefit. And above all these three categories, the person who organizes the venue for such gathering to take place, that person benefits the most. If you remember Vashaji and Suptiji, I was admiring, I was praising you, I was showing my gratitude towards both of you that, you took this initiative to start this discussion on the sublime topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Vinod ji.
Are you there, Vashaji, Suptiji?
हमारा इसमें बहुत सारा फायदा है, तो इसीलिए I think we are blessed, है ना वर्षा जी?
True.
Of course.
हमारा फायदा.
Yes. So I'm really grateful that, you have given me opportunity to speak on this sublime topic, and actually it's very purifying for me also. So Suta Goswami started narrating this whole Bhagavatam to Shaunaka Rishi and 88,000 rishis gathered there. So how he started narrating the Bhagavatam? So he told them that the incident which took place from Mahabharata. After the Mahabharata war was over, the Kurukshetra war got over. So Pandavas, they survived, right? And amongst the Kauravas, Duryodhana was still alive, though he was completely injured. He could not move because Bhimasena, he had broken Duryodhana's legs. So Duryodhana became immobile. He was still on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And still, there was 3 other people who were still alive. We talked about them. Can anyone remember?
Ashwathama.
Ashwathama, yes. Very good. Shakuntala ji.
और कौन है? अश्वत्थामा ने
द्रोणाचार्य के साले कौन थे?
नहीं पता.
कौरवों को पांडवों के गुरु कौन थे द्रोणाचार्य के पहले?
कृपाचार्य।
कृपाचार्य, यस। कृपाचार्य की जो बहन थी कृपी, वो द्रोणाचार्य जी की पत्नी थी. Kripacharya's sister Kripi was married to Dronacharya. So Kripacharya was Dronacharya's brother-in-law. So Kripacharya was also still alive. And there was third one. From the Kuru side, he was still alive. And that is Kritvarma. So Kritvarma, actually, he was commander-in-chief of Yadu army. But because that Narayani Sena was given to Duryodhana by Krishna, when he went to ask for help, so Krishna told him that, on one side will be Krishna and the other side will be Narayani army. So Duryodhana chose Narayani army. Right? Before that, Arjuna chose Krishna. So Kritavarma was commander-in-chief of Narayani army. He was the one taught martial arts to Abhimanyu. He and Krishna are his Abhimanyu's guru. So these three were still alive. So Ashwatthama was appointed as commander-in-chief by Duryodhana, and Ashwatthama went and killed Draupadi's 5 sons, mistakenly thinking that they were Pandavas. So Ashwatthama, in the dark night, he went to the tents of Pandavas, and these 5 brothers were resting together, sleeping in the same tent. So Ashwatthama thought that they were Pandavas. So he killed them. And he went and told Duryodhana that he killed Pandavas. But then Duryodhana realized that usually Pandavas were not killed by him. And he also was very upset with Ashwatthama. So when Draupadi, next morning when Draupadi saw her 5 sons were killed, and she could not find who was the killer. So Arjuna, when he saw the arrows, so from the signs of the arrows, the marks of the arrows, he could understand that those arrows belonged to Ashwatthama. As a warrior, he could recognize. So then he became very angry. Then he told Draupadi that he would not wipe her tears unless and until he goes and kills Ashwatthama and brings Ashwatthama's corpse to Draupadi. So Krishna and Arjuna, they left the camp of Pandavas in search of Ashwatthama. So Ashwatthama, when he saw Arjuna chasing him, he also started, running away from him on his chariot. But eventually Arjuna caught hold of him. And Arjuna wanted to kill him. Now it is said here, even Krishna also was encouraging Arjuna to kill him. But at that time, Arjuna did not listen to him. Now I want to ask a question from you, if somebody can guess the answer. When the war was going on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna kind of created the situation when Dronacharya was killed. Krishna told Bhima to kill Ashwatthama, an elephant named Ashwatthama, and after that he told Bhima to go and tell Dronacharya that he killed Ashwatthama without disclosing that not his son but an elephant. And Bhima did that, and Dronacharya could not believe. Now see here, Dronacharya very well knew that Ashwatthama cannot be killed. वो अजर अमर है. He's immortal. But still, see, this is where Krishna's potency works. It is said, when someone takes shelter of Krishna, even if the astrologically planets may be not favorable, but if Krishna favors someone, even the planetary position is not favorable, nothing will be harmful. Nothing will harm that person. So now Dronacharya very, very well knew that Ashwatthama cannot be killed by anyone. What to speak of Bhima? He could not be killed by anyone. But still, because Krishna's Maya influenced Dronacharya, so he could not understand that. He could not remember that Ashwatthama cannot be killed. And he also believed. But still, he had some doubts, so he went to clarify his doubt from Maharaj Yudhishthir. And Yudhishthir also spoke like that when Krishna told him to do that. So my point I want to make here, and then, Dronacharya was killed because Yudhishthir also said, yes, Ashwatthama is being killed. And when he tried to clarify the point that not a man not your son, but an elephant. At that time, Krishna blew a conch shell. And those words of Maharaj Yudhishthira, Dronacharya did not hear. And because of that grief, losing his son, Dronacharya left all the weapons, gave up all the weapons, and he started meditating. At that time, Drishtadyumna went and killed him. So on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when Krishna created this situation, so Arjuna also supported Drishtadyumna at that time to go and kill Dronacharya. But now here, Ashwathama killed Pandava's 5 sons, Draupadi's 5 sons. He was the murderer because he did not kill them on the battlefield. He killed them when they were asleep. That means he murdered them. He did not kill them on the battlefield as a warrior. So he deserved capital punishment. And that's what Krishna was telling Arjuna to kill him. But Arjuna did not follow Krishna's instructions. So my question is that why? Why Arjuna did not follow Krishna's instructions? On the other hand, when Ashwathama's father was being killed, at that time, Arjuna did not have any objection. Anyone? Asha, do you have any answer? Any guess?
वो उसको जिंदा पकड़ के लाना चाहता हूँ द्रौपदी के सामने, उसको जिंदा पकड़ के लाना चाहता होगा द्रौपदी के सामने।
हाँ, वो तो उसको जीवित लाना था, लेकिन अभी भगवान उसको कह रहे कि उसको उसकी हत्या कर दो क्योंकि ये हत्यारा है। अर्जुना ने वो बात नहीं मानी. Arjuna did not listen to Krishna at that time.
Possible, Vinod ji, ki sometimes death is not it's not enough. Maybe the sin is too large. So it's better for the person to live that life and suffer. Maybe suffering comes from life rather than death.
Yes, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. This is one of the answers. I want to share with you one incident. This incident was actually, it's a true incident, happened long time ago in Malaysia. My father-in-law shared with me. He said once one man, he went for his driving test before getting a license in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. So the traffic inspector who wanted to test this man, his driving abilities before issuing a license. So he was sitting in the same car with him on the next to the driving seat. So this man was driving for his test. So at the traffic signal, when he saw the red light, the man stopped the car. So the traffic inspector told him that, why don't you drive? He said, but signal is red. But he said, there is no traffic. You know, we are a very remote place. There is away from the city, no cars are coming, so you can drive. I'm sitting next to you, so you can drive. So this man drove the car, and this inspector failed him and told him that no matter who is sitting next to you, you have to follow the traffic rules. Even the Prime Minister of Malaysia is sitting next to you, and he's telling you to drive the car, you should not drive. He failed him. So here, similarly, you know, I'm saying that Krishna was testing Arjuna because a Kshatriya is not supposed to punish a Brahmana. You may remember an incident in Mahabharata when there was a dilemma, confusion, who should be appointed as a crown prince. There were 2 options, Maharaj Yudhishthira and Duryodhana. Right? So Duryodhana's camp, of course, they were supporting Duryodhana that he should be the crown prince because he was the son of the eldest Kuru. He was the son of Dhritarashtra. Eldest Kuru means among those brothers, 3 brothers, Dhritarashtra, Pandu, and Vidura. So to test the ability as a prince, what Vidura did, he brought 4 criminals. Now these 4 criminals, they killed somebody together. So then Vidura asked Duryodhana that what kind of punishment, if you are appointed as a crown prince, what kind of punishment you will announce for them? So Duryodhana said, you know, what a silly question you are asking. If the person, if these 4 people are killers, so they should be hanged to death. capital punishment. There is no question to be asked. It's a what they call it, open and nut case, right? So everybody started clapping. Duryodhana's camps, his supporters. So Dhritarashtra also announced, okay, all these 4 of these culprits, criminals, they should be hanged till death. So then Vidura said, but we are not allowed, we are not giving chance to Yudhishthir. We need to ask his opinion also, what he thinks. So then Yudhishthira was asked this question, same question, that what kind of punishment he would announce for them. So Maharaj Yudhishthira said that he asked the Varanas of those 4 criminals. So one person said that he was Shudra, others said that he was Vaishya, third one said he was Kshatriya, and the 4th one said he was Brahmana. So Maharaj Yudhishthira said that for the Shudra, 4 years imprisonment. For Vaishya, 8 years, the double punishment, double of the Shudra. And Kshatriya, 16 years, double of the Vaishya. And then for Brahmana, he said, because I am a Kshatriya, I am not qualified to announce the sentence or any kind of punishment for a Brahmana. I leave it up to our Kul Guru, Kripacharya, what kind of punishment he would announce for him, for a Brahmana. So when Yudhishthira Maharaj said that, everybody started clapping except Kauravas, 100 brothers. So from that, Maharaj Dhritarashtra, because he could hear the sound of claps, the people were showing Jai, 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 like that, glorifying Maharaj Yudhishthira. That sound was much, much louder than what he heard after the announcement was made by Duryodhana. And then Dhritarashtra had to announce Yudhishthira as crown prince. So the point I want to make here is that Arjuna realized that. Arjuna thought that, he was a warrior and he did not have any right to punish him. And he was not the king. Even though they won the war, his older brother had more rights to announce any kind of punishment for the culprit, if Ashwatthama was the culprit. Arjuna, being a younger brother, he did not have any right to do so. So here Krishna was testing him. Krishna was also testing Arjuna to see, whether whatever knowledge Krishna had given Arjuna, whether Arjuna understood that knowledge of Bhagavad Gita properly or not. Of course, Arjuna understood it. There is no doubt about it. But this is Krishna, again and again he tests his devotees. Only one kind of exam we pass, it is not enough for Krishna. His standards, expectations are very, very high. And after his devotees pass one test, the subsequent test will be even more difficult. सोने को तपा तपा के जैसे उसको परखा जाता है, Krishna is like that. So we have to be ready. If we think that, if we claim to be Krishna's devotees, we have to prepare ourselves to go through these kind of tests in our material life. We should not get shattered by these kind of material tests. And we should accept this Krishna's blessing, Krishna's prasad, he's testing us. So when we have that kind of attitude, no matter how much difficulty we have in the material life, Krishna can help us to go through that difficulty very easily. Am I making sense here to all of you?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes. So coming to this point, so Krishna was testing Arjuna. So what Arjuna did, Arjuna arrested Ashwatthama and brought in front of Draupadi and Maharaj Yudhishthira. And then told Maharaj Yudhishthira, now the culprit is here in front of you. So you announce the punishment. So Maharaj Yudhishthira, because he was epitome of religiosity, piety, Dharmaraj Yudhishthira. So how can he announce any punishment for his Guru Putra? Then he looked at Draupadi. He asked Draupadi that now you are the victim here. Your sons, as a mother, you are the one who was feeling more pain. We are fathers, all these 5 Pandavas. So he said, men normally they don't feel so much pain compared to what a woman feels. So now you have the right to announce a punishment. for this culprit. Now, Draupadi also was not an ordinary woman. Right? Now, here I want to touch this topic since we are talking about Draupadi. You might have seen in the Mahabharata series, and you might have read in Mahabharata also, you might have heard about this incident, that when Rajasuya Yajna was done, and then Duryodhana was going in that palace of illusion, which was constructed by Danava. So he was walking, thinking that it was a plain floor, designed floor, but he fell into a pond of water. And it is said that Draupadi was standing there and she laughed. And she sarcastically said that Andega Putra Andha. Right? How many of you have heard that?
Yes.
Yes.
Very common, right?
Yes.
It is a very common incident mentioned in the Mahabharata, particularly in the Mahabharata series. But it is completely wrong.
युद्ध हुआ, उसी के कारण तो युद्ध हुआ महाभारत का.
Yeah, but see, this is what we have heard, we have seen, but this is completely wrong.
Okay.
A woman of caliber of Draupadi would not do such a cheap thing. Because Draupadi also was very learned. Because she was very highly elevated, learned woman, that is the reason Krishna accepted her as his sister. Krishna would not accept any ordinary woman as his sister. So Draupadi also was very learned. She was not an ordinary woman. She was born from the Agni of Yagna. And Agni is the epitome of knowledge, right? Gyan Agni, correct? Gyan also is treated as Agni. So a woman who was born from the Agni, from the Jnana, she cannot be so illusioned. She cannot be so cheap, insulting her younger brother-in-law, who was the guest at that time of her husband. First of all, it is that Draupadi was not there at all. When this happened, when Duryodhana fell into the pond, Draupadi was not there. And if had she been there also, she would not have done such a cheap thing. She would not have done anything against the social etiquette. She would not have insulted Duryodhana, who was their guest at that time. अतिथि का मान रखा जाता है, हमारे शास्त्रों में कहा गया है, अगर कोई शत्रु भी अतिथि के रूप में आता है, if any enemy also comes as a guest, we should welcome that person. Ordinary people also know about this, right, in India. Atithi Devo Bhava. So if this is taught in our Vedic culture, and Draupadi being such a learned woman, how could she insult Atithi Deva? She would not have done that. So Duryodhana was their guest. She would not have done that. And Duryodhana was invited by her husband, Maharaj Yudhishthir. So insulting Duryodhana means she was insulting her husband. She would not have done that. And Duryodhana was representing her father-in-law, Dhritarashtra, elder brother of her actual father-in-law, Pandu's older brother. So if she had insulted Duryodhana like that, then she would have insulted her father-in-law, Pandu, and she would have insulted Dhritarashtra, her father-in-law's older brother. And Draupadi would never do that. She was not an ordinary woman. Many things have been twisted in the original, from the original things, original writings. And because due to our kind of whatever bad karma we say, we do not have access to the original text. So whatever is shown to us, we just follow that. So this is shown in the Mahabharata original series, which was made in 80s, right, by B.R. Chopra. And I want to share with you, thereafter, other producers, directors also made series on Mahabharata. One series of Mahabharata was produced and directed by Sanjay Khan, the younger brother of Firoz Khan. Many of you may know, right? He acted in many Bollywood movies. So he produced and directed series of Mahabharata. So I happened to be in Mumbai at that time. It was in mid-90s. So one episode I was watching, that episode was also broadcast on one Sunday. So in that part of that episode, there was conversation. I don't remember the words, but the essence I want to share with you. Conversation between Krishna and Draupadi. Now see, So listen carefully. Krishna is telling Draupadi that Draupadi, I'm sorry that I cannot get married to you because I have 16,108 wives already. But I can be you and I can be boyfriend and girlfriend. No problem with that. Krishna is telling Draupadi like this. In that episode, it was shown like that. Now, youngsters who did not see the original Mahabharata series, in which Krishna always addressed Draupadi as Krishna. That means Krishna's sister. Now, in this episode, it was twisted further. Krishna is telling Draupadi that he could not get married to Draupadi. That means illegitimate affair was going on between them. When people that do not know the background, the youngsters, what will they think? Oh, they were also loose character, Krishna and Draupadi. They were married. They had their wives. Draupadi had husbands, and Krishna had wives, and they were having affair like this. So, if we have this kind of extramarital affair, there is no harm. This is big offense, very, very big offense. So we need to be very careful. That's why it is said, that knowledge we should get from a right source, a bona fide source. Otherwise, our consciousness can become polluted. And we also start committing offenses. So coming back to this point, I was telling you about that. When Draupadi...
Prabhu, can I just share something here, please?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Prabhu. I happened to be changing my channels today on YouTube, and it got stuck on a channel where somebody, I'm not familiar with this person, I'm sorry, but he's quite famous, I've heard, Sadhguru.
Okay.
And he was giving a talk to a lot of people. And
yes.
That one sentence that I heard really made me so upset. He was saying, Draupadi, what character she has, she can easily get angry. She's an ordinary woman, nothing we should think about her. And I was so shocked to hear that statement. He's sitting in India and he's talking to crowds of all youth. And he was talking to a lady who was from Australia, an Indian lady. And this is how he's preaching. I didn't know what to say to such a person, really. And people are listening to him.
Yes.
It's amazing, really amazing.
Yes. Yeah, unfortunately, these kind of things are happening in Kali Yuga. So as I said, Prabhupada also used to say that we need to follow a proper parampara. There are so many self-proclaimed gurus, self-made gurus nowadays. India is very well known for manufacturing gurus, Every day there is a new guru coming out from India. So of course, I don't want to comment on this. Otherwise, somebody else may feel offended. But what you said, Yogidhara Mataji, yeah, it is true because these people, they don't have proper parampara. In the same line, I want to mention to you, I think I mentioned once earlier also, another famous guru who is very popular, not only in India, but abroad also. And he has many followers here in Hong Kong also. So some time ago, I went to visit one of my clients for Vastu consultation early in the morning. And it happened to be Guru Purnima day. Guru Purnima is the appearance day of Lord Vyasadeva, Srila Vyasadeva, who is the compiler of the whole Vedic literature. So this guru of this cult, on the Z News channel, it was being shown. There was some followers. This was happening in India, but they were showing on the Z News channel, which I was also watching with my clients. So one of the followers asked this guru, that Gurudev, if we say that Bhagwan, the Lord, is residing in everybody's heart, then why do we commit sin? Very good question, right? So my clients and I, we were very eagerly waiting for the answer from this guru. So this guru, he closed his eyes as though he was meditating. Then he opened his eyes and he said that, don't you think that Bhagwan goes to sleep sometimes? जब भगवान सोने जाते हैं तो हम पाप करते हैं.
Yes, you mentioned it before, Prabhu. Last class I was here, you mentioned.
So see this, his followers started clapping, Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, was words of wisdom. Now, actually, the question was very, very intelligent question, very deep question. Same question was asked by Arjuna from Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna asked Krishna, that sometimes a man feels so much compelled, so much forced to commit sin, in spite of having the knowledge that, whatever he's going to do is a sinful activity and he has to pay the penalty for that, consequences he has to face. But he cannot stop himself from committing that committing that offense. So what kind of force compels the person to commit the sin? Same question was asked by Arjuna. So Krishna did not say that, I reside in everybody's heart. When I go to sleep, people commit sin. Krishna never said that. Krishna said that the lust, the temptation the person has, when that lust and temptation is not controlled by the person, anyone who succumbs to these kind of temptations, they commit sin. And these are the hindrances on our path of spiritual advancement. Lust, anger, greed. Krishna never said, when I go to sleep, people commit sin. So these kind of things are happening. My point here, I don't want to belittle people. They have many good qualities, no doubt about it. That's why they have so many followers. They are teaching many good things. But unfortunately, when it comes to the sublime section of Vedic literature, they misguide people. Because they themselves do not know. Unfortunately. Other things, they are very well known. They are very well versed about, yoga and other kind of things, other sciences. So here, I want to touch to this point. When Narada Muni met Bhakti Devi in Vrindavan, Jnana and Vairagya, they were old. So in Kali Yuga, yoga sadhana also will not help us. No matter how much learned we are, how many things we learn, how much knowledge we have, it cannot help us to get liberated. The saral, the simplest form or simplest process for liberation is bhakti. And once we take shelter of Bhakti Devi, Jnana and Vairagya, because they are her sons, automatically we will acquire. भक्ति के चरणों में जाने से ज्ञान और वैराग्य अपने आप आ जाएंगे. उसके लिए हमें कोई अधिक प्रयास नहीं करना है, कोई विशेष प्रयास नहीं करना है. We don't have to endeavor extra to acquire knowledge and detachment. It will come automatically. So coming to this point, so Draupadi was not an ordinary woman. So when Maharaj Yudhishthira looked at her, she understood that what was the question going on in his mind, Maharaj Yudhishthira's mind. So she also said to Krishna and Arjuna, please don't kill him. Though he murdered my sons, but he's Guru Putra, he's your Guru Putra. If Dronacharya did not teach you martial art, you would not have been able to win the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So, expressing your gratitude to your Guru, you spare his life. Another reason, very beautiful reason she gave. She said, because I can feel the pain of losing my children, my sons. I do not want our Guru Mata to experience the same pain when she loses her son, Ashwatthama. See the caliber of that woman. If she had been ordinary woman, she would have said, yes, kill him. Nothing doing. He's a culprit, kill him. But she was not an ordinary woman. She handled that situation very logically, very spiritually, very rationally, not emotionally. If she was an ordinary woman, she would have got carried away by the emotions. But because she was an extraordinary woman, she knew how to control her emotions and how to uphold the religious principle. So she told Arjuna and Krishna that please don't kill him. Then Krishna told Arjuna, there was a gem on Ashwatthama's forehead, money. So he told Arjuna, you remove that money and shave his head. In the previous yuga, what to speak of Brahmanas, even Kshatriyas also would not cut their hair, because it was considered as an insult. If any Kshatriya warrior wanted to punish another Kshatriya warrior by defeating in the war and would spare his life, but cut his hair. Because cutting the hair of a Kshatriya, a Brahmana would keep the shikha, long shikha. They would not cut the shikha. Because it would be like an insult for a Brahmana to cut the shikha. And Kshatriyas would keep the whole scalp full of hair. They would not cut their hair. So you may be knowing that, Jayadratha, when he was caught by the Pandavas, when he insulted Draupadi, they shaved his head, only 5 chotis, 5 lumps of hair they left on his head to insult him. So it was a great insult for a Kshatriya to cut his hair. What to speak of cutting his hair on his own? If somebody else would cut, that means that person was killing him. It was worse than killing the Kshatriya. So Krishna told Arjuna to cut his hair, shave his hair. Like that means the shikha, Ashwatthama had, and remove that gem from his forehead. Now, Krishna knew very well that Ashwatthama is immortal, because immortality was bestowed upon him by Krishna himself. But then Krishna told him that for Brahmana, knowledge is the main strength of survival, for survival. If that knowledge is taken away, Brahmana without knowledge is like a dead person. So gem was an epitome of the sign of knowledge for Ashwatthama. So Krishna told Arjuna to remove that gem from his forehead and let him suffer the pain. And that pain will remind him of the sin he committed of killing the 5 innocent young warriors when they were asleep. So Arjuna did it. Arjuna cut off his that choti, that tail he had, Ashwatthama had. We cannot actually literally translate as tail, but it was a shikha. The Sanskrit word is shikha, symbol of a Brahmana. So Arjuna cut that off and removed that gem from his forehead. So that was the punishment given, which was actually worse than killing him. So we need to understand these kind of incidents with a Jnana Chakshu. We call them the vision of knowledge, not just by reading or hearing superficially. We have to just think that we know that topic. Any question here?
Question. One thing I wanted to ask. अगर द्रौपदी ने नहीं बोला वहां पे अंधे का पुत्र अंधा, तो किसने बोला?
द्रौपदी थी नहीं वहां पे, किसी ने नहीं बोला उसको, क्योंकि द्रौपदी थी नहीं, और जो दूसरी जो मेड सर्वेंट्स थी, दासियां तो ऐसा दुस्साहस कर ही नहीं सकती हैं दुर्योधन के सामने आके ऐसा बोलने, किसी ने नहीं कहा था. These kind of things are added later on in the original Mahabharata. So many kind of amendments, not right amendments, but many wrong amendments, additions have been made in our scriptures. Unfortunately, to give wrong kind of information to people like us. So we need to be very careful. We need to be very mindful. Should not just believe whatever we are reading, especially if the translation or any purpose written by so-called self-proclaimed gurus. Any other question?
This is very unfortunate, yeah, I just want to add upon this. Any youngster these days, they just go to Wikipedia and Google. That's the only
Yes.
source of information, be it any spiritual information or anything. So that's
Yes.
very sad for us. Only yesterday I was talking to my son, and generally they go to Google, Wikipedia. And Wikipedia, anyone can edit, anyone. So this is a very sad state for us.
Yeah, see, even if we see from our ancient scriptural perspective, कहते हैं कि गुरु के बिना ज्ञान नहीं मिल सकता है, right? Even though we may have the scripture, we may have the Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, if we read on our own, we may understand very little, or rather we misunderstand.
Yeah, confusion.
Right? So for that reason, we have to have a guru who can give us proper knowledge. And that guru has to come in the proper parampara, bona fide parampara. That guru should have guru, and that guru should have guru. So there should be parampara, lineage.
Right.
So when the knowledge is kind of descending from the higher authorities, then that is called true knowledge. The guru's job is to represent what he has learned from his guru. Any devotee's job is to represent. Represent means whatever he has learned, he has to represent it, not mispresent. उसमें अपना concoction डाल के, हाँ, we can add our realization, we can add our understanding without changing the meaning of the original text. But what happens, sometimes these self-proclaimed gurus, they add their speculation, which kind of changes the whole meaning. Like, for example, I said that Guru was saying that भगवान जब भी सोने जाते हैं तभी हम पाप करते हैं. So it is nowhere it is mentioned. And such gurus, they accept worship and dakshina. Guru dakshina वो ग्रहण करते हैं अपने शिष्यों से गुरु पूर्णिमा के दिन. जबकि वो व्यासदेव गुरु जो है, परम गुरु है, उसकी व्याख्या को नहीं मानते हैं. They don't even know what Vyasadeva talks about in the scriptures. If that guru was knowing that what Vyasadeva says, why a person commits sin, it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. So he would not have given this stupid answer that when God goes to sleep, people commit sin. So they commit big offense, by accepting dakshina on the Guru Purnima day, thinking that they are gurus of these followers. So that's a big offense. But again, I want to say that in Kali Yuga, these kind of people will flourish. They will become very prosperous. They will become very popular because Kali Yuga will support them fully. Kali Yuga himself is very deceptive, very hypocritical. So such deceptive cheaters, hypocritical people will become more popular. But again, having said that, they have many good things also. They are actually, at least, they are bringing some people from very low class to little higher level. Like many gurus are teaching yoga. Yoga has become very commercial. So yes, commercialization has diluted the sublime quality of yoga. But on the other hand, it has made it very popular. Right? So because of that, India is very well known throughout the world because of science of yoga. It has become so popular. So there are pros and cons of these kind of things. So we need to just, try to look at the brighter side also. So we know that, what is the actual thing. So that whatever is not false, we just reject. But whatever good things they are doing, we need to acknowledge. At least we need to acknowledge those things, good things also. Because they are bringing so many people closer to the yoga and other kind of sciences. So that's a good thing they are doing. And then amongst that crowd who are brought to the knowledge of these sciences, so amongst those kind of people who are really, really sincere, they will get access to a source from where they can get actual knowledge, right knowledge. Their sincerity will qualify them to go to the source where they can get the right knowledge.
I think only with the grace of God only we get things, we get the access, because we don't have that much capability to look out for it on our own. Like this is a whole wide, God makes the arrangement. This is what I feel. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And God makes the arrangement when we are sincere. So when he sees the sincerity in our heart, then he will make the things easier for us. He will usher us. He will guide us in that direction. Go in this direction. You will find the right guru.
Yeah.
So
I recently discovered that.
Very good. Very good. Can you share your name, please?
Sorry. I'm Yachna God.
Yachna. Very good. Very nice name.
Yachna.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on this. Anybody else wants to ask any question or share something?
Am I audible?
Yes.
Okay. Sir, you may find this question kiddie, but there are some stories where in Bhakti Marg they are telling that you have to follow blindly whatever your guru says. That is for your well known. And as you said, there are some stories where the guru is testing you. So how one will know that when we have to we are going to be tested or we have to follow blindly? So that's
Very good question. Yes, very good question. Yes, this question many people may have in their minds. Now we say that when any guru says, we need to see whatever the instructions guru is giving, whether his instructions match with other other sadhus in the scriptures. Three things we say: guru, sadhu, and shastra. So guru will not give any instruction which is not mentioned in the shastras. If he says something which is not mentioned in shastras, we should not accept that guru. So here, what I'm saying that, Krishna tested Arjuna, right? And because Arjuna had got knowledge already from Krishna, and he realized that Krishna is kind of contradicting his own instructions. That's why Arjuna did not follow. Because whatever he learned previously from Krishna, he put that knowledge into practice. So that means he was not contradicting. Apparently, it looked like contradiction, but he was not contradicting Krishna. He was following Krishna's original instructions. That Kshatriya should not kill a Brahmana like that. Does it give you answer to your question? So three things we need to match: Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So any Guru, whoever we may consider that person as a Guru, that Guru's instructions, whatever teachings he's sharing with us, those teachings should match with the original scriptures. Guru should be able to back his statements from the scriptures or other great sadhus. And Param Guru is Vyasadev himself. So any Guru who claims to be, any person who claims to be Guru, at least we need to see that he is following the instructions stipulated or mentioned by Vyasadev in the different compilation of the Vedic literature. If any person's statements do not match what Vyasadev is saying in the scriptures, then we should put a question mark to the person, what the person is saying. Yes? Tanuji, right?
All
Mrs. Tushar.
Yes, Mrs. Tushar. Thank you.
all I can say is that blindly following someone is not at all
Of
not
course.
good. और गुरु की जहाँ पे बात आती है ना, आजकल गुरु का नाम का फैशन बहुत है।
हाँ.
हम सबके स्पिरिचुअल गाइड हैं, हम सबके गुरु ऊपर हैं, ओके। और जब आपको जरूरत होगी जैसे गुरु की, वैसा गुरु भगवान अपने आप अरेंज कर देंगे, लेकिन आप उसके लिए तैयार तो हो।
Yes, absolutely.
देन
Yes.
अगेन इसमें भी अलग अलग लेवल्स होते हैं।
Mhm.
आप हो क्लास 1 के स्टूडेंट और
Correct.
करते हो कि यूनिवर्सिटी का टीचर आके आपको पढ़ाए, जैसे कि कृष्ण जी ने आके अर्जुन को पढ़ाया।
Absolutely. Yes.
दैट्स नॉट पॉसिबल। आपको प्राइमरी टीचर ही आके पढ़ाएगा अगर आप
Correct.
क्लास 1 के हैं। तो इसके लिए कोई अंधी भक्ति में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है। बी कूल एंड काम, थोड़ा प्रेयर शेयर करो, मन को साफ करो, अपने गुरु आ जाएंगे।
Correct.
वो चिंता भगवान की है, आपकी नहीं है।
Yes, yes.
इंसान को आप अंधे भक्त होके कर रहे हो तो बस, तो फिर गए काम से। और जिस दिन आपको गुरु मिलेगा ना, आपके अंदर से आवाज आएगी,
Yes.
यू आर एट द राइट प्लेस एट द राइट।
Absolutely. Absolutely.
दिस हैज हैपेंड विद मी, मेरा एक्सपीरियंस है,
Yes.
इसलिए मैं शेयर कर रही हूँ।
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Absolutely. Whatever you said, our scriptures do not encourage us, do not advise us to follow someone blindly. I think I shared this example with you. When we go to buy any utensil shop to get a pot to use in a kitchen for cooking our meal, cooking our food, Now that utensil may last for about 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, right? उसको ठोक बजा के देखते हैं ना कैसा है वो, उसमें से आवाज कैसी आती है, स्वर कैसा आता है, correct? We knock it, whether how strong it is, correct? Now, a simple utensil when we go to buy, we make sure that it can last for 10, 20 years. What to speak of when we surrender, we give our life to someone. We just surrender as a disciple. मनुष्य जीवन हम समर्पित करते हैं उस व्यक्ति के चरणों में, तो ऐसे वैसे व्यक्ति के चरणों में नहीं समर्पित करना चाहिए. That person has to be qualified. He has to be qualified. Then only he can become a guru. So we also, it is our responsibility also to be open, to have our eyes open, our vision clear before surrendering ourselves, surrendering our life to someone, accepting that person as a guru, or rather being accepted as a disciple by that guru. Yes, spiritual sciences is not a very cheap thing. We should not take it for granted. We should not take it so lightly. So हाँ, तो गुरु जीवन में होना चाहिए, अवश्य होना चाहिए, but we should not surrender to any ordinary person. The person has to be qualified. And very rightly you gave example, primary school level पे जो टीचर, जो शिक्षक होगा वो उसी प्रकार की, उसकी श्रेणी भी वही होगी. His standard also will be like that. He can teach only the primary level student. So what Yogi Radha was mentioning, these kind of, I don't want to compare, but I'm just sharing with you, bringing this up if it makes sense to you. So there are many gurus who are at primary level. So they will find students like that. And such students, primary school level में क्या होता है, वो जो rewards देते हैं, chocolates खिलाते हैं बच्चों को, तो बच्चे उसी में खुश हो जाते हैं. So people whose intelligence is like that, who hear these kind of answers, they feel happy, they feel satisfied. But if a PhD person goes to attend a primary school level class and he sees that, what kind of answer is given by a teacher, he will not be satisfied. We say, what kind of teacher is that?
But
So we also need to, it is our responsibility also to become more aware with our Jnana Chakshu, with the vision of wisdom has to be there to analyze. Our Vedic literature encourages us to scrutinize. Scriptures also, we need to scrutinize, analyze, and understand what is written there. Should not follow blindly. Blind following is not encouraged at all. All the scriptures, if you see, it is question and answer. Now here I'm telling you that Shaunakarishi asked a question from Suta Goswami, and Suta Goswami is replying. So that whole conversation is going on between Shaunakarishi and Suta Goswami, and before it was between Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadeva Goswami. So all question and answer. So the disciples, they ask questions from the Guru, and Guru answers. It is Guru's responsibility to answer the questions, and it is disciples' duty. It is his right to ask the question, and also it is his duty to ask the question in a very submissive manner, not in a challenging way. Now the problem is many people, they ask questions in a very challenging way. They have some preconceived answers in their mind, and they want to test so-called Guru, whether the Guru's answer matches with their preconceived idea or not. So that kind of mood is not good. If somebody has that kind of mood, challenging mood, that person will not get knowledge, proper knowledge.
This is very clearly given in Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
Kind of guru it should be, और कैसे क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहिए, और शिष्य को कैसा होना चाहिए. Everything
Yes.
given so clearly, and maybe we'll be touching it क्योंकि next week भगवद गीता है अपना, और उसके बाद में एक और होगा, उसमें ये चीज कवर हो जाएगी.
Very good, Shakuntala ji.
but
Yes.
मैं तो-
See, all these kind of guidelines are given,
yeah,
and we need to follow these guidelines.
I think
Our scriptures are very, very deep, very vast
Ma'am,
and very deep.
I think
आप
most
mute हो.
important- नहीं, mute नहीं.
नहीं म्यूट
On-
नहीं, वॉल्यूम कम है बस.
मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट मैं ये समझती हूँ कि
Sorry, can you speak louder, please?
या आई एम सेइंग दैट मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट मैं ये समझती हूँ कि गुरु ऐसा होना चाहिए who encourages the disciples to ask questions.
Correct. Absolutely.
आजकल गुरु ऐसे हैं कि I'll speak and everybody listens. And
Yes.
अगर आप ये सब videos देखें ना तो people are only nodding. अब वो क्या समझ रहे क्या नहीं समझ रहे God knows, you know. So this
Yes.
is the problem, you know.
और कभी कभी तो क्वेश्चन कर लिया ना
हाँ वो encourage
तो गए काम से, मतलब उन पे गुस्सा निकल जाएगा, क्वेश्चन पूछा कैसे?
करते हैं
हाँ
गुस्सा करते हैं वो लोग, you know. तो ये
ये जो
ज्ञान दे
जिज्ञासा होती है ना, जो जिज्ञासा
Hare
होती है ना,
Krishna, can I share something, please?
हाँ जी
यस
हाँ,
यस
okay, okay.
राधिका जी
Yes, go ahead.
Hare Krishna, I just wanted to share that our Gurudev always told us something which I will never forget for the rest of my life. He always said that because sometimes as sadhakas, as aspiring devotees, we may feel shy or embarrassed to ask questions because we don't want to look foolish. And so since we're talking about the topic of whether or not we should follow blindly or whether we should ask questions, in fact, our Gurudev always told us that if you ask a question, you may be a fool for a moment. But if you don't ask your question, you will remain a fool for your lifetime.
awesome.
So I always felt these words were very profound, and they have always guided me in my own spiritual practice, that we should never be afraid of asking questions. The only thing that we need to be mindful of is that we should ask questions with a genuine mood of wanting to learn and wanting to understand, not in a challenging way to show that we are smarter than anyone else, but in a very humble and submissive mood of wanting to actually know the answer to our query, to clear our doubts. So sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to share that. Hare Krishna.
Absolutely correct.
Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
what I was saying, that jigyasa, you know, Joe, that curiosity opens the doors to acquire knowledge. It opens the doors to avenues from where we can get the knowledge, proper knowledge. So curiosity has to be very genuine. And what she said, you know, Radhika said that we have to ask questions in a very submissive manner, with the intention of learning, not challenging.
Yeah, in a respectful manner. You have to ask in a
Respectful manner, yes. Yes, respectful manner. So whole our Vedic literature is based on question and answer between guru and disciple.
Even Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
Arjun is asking and Lord Krishna is replying.
Correct.
2 hours Bhagavad Gita ho gaya.
Yes, 2 ghadis, 48 minutes. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, Krishna and Arjuna, their conversation, Krishna chose Arjuna to be his disciple at that time. Arjuna was representing all human beings, mankind. He was our representative. Actually, Arjuna knew everything because Krishna's friend cannot be an ordinary person. So Arjuna was his friend, his cousin, and his devotee. So Arjuna knew all the answers. That's why in whole Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna does not repeat his questions. He's asking new questions from Krishna. He did not ask Krishna, can you repeat? I did not understand this. Can you please repeat? So his questions were new questions. Of course, they were sprouting from the previous questions, but all questions were different because he already knew. For us people, ordinary people like us, you know, even to understand one shloka, one lifetime may not be enough. Yeah. So yes, so we have to adopt that kind of mood, very submissive mood, very humble mood. Humility kind of, you know, qualifies us to learn. Yes. So any last question before we conclude our sessions today? Or any last point someone wants to share?
I just want to share something.
Yes.
It's just what I have understood. I have seen to very close people of mine. Is it okay if I talk in Hindi?
Yeah,
चलेगा.
तो मैंने मतलब बहुत नजदीकी 2 लोगों को देखा है कि जिनके गुरु एक थे तो ही इज नो मोर नाउ, बट ही इज ए गुरु। तो लेकिन उन्होंने इंस्ट्रक्शंस दिए थे, तो एक अंकल थे, एक भतीजा था, तो उन्होंने अंकल के लिए जो इंस्ट्रक्शंस दिए, अभी अंकल सीनियर थे, उन्होंने भतीजे को इंट्रोड्यूस करवाया था गुरु से, तो जो भतीजा था वो अंकल को भी गुरु मानता था। तो वॉट एवर हिज अंकल वाज टेलिंग, तो गुरु से तो बार बार मुलाकात होती नहीं थी, तो वो फॉलो करते थे। लेकिन फिर बहुत साल बाद ऐसा हुआ कि कुछ बातें ठीक नहीं हो रही थी, तो मतलब मुझे लगे जो अंकल थे उनको उनके गुरु ने ब्रह्मचार्य ये किया था कि मतलब वो कभी शादी ना करे, और उनका जो लाइफ था वो वैसे डिजाइन किया था। और जो भतीजा था उसका जो लाइफ था वो पूरा मतलब फैमिली जो भी है, बच्चे, वो ऐसा था। तो उन्होंने जो उसको फॉलो किया, तो उसकी वजह से उसके लाइफ में कुछ पर्सनली प्रॉब्लम्स आए, ये मैंने देखा है। फिर अभी ऐसा लगता है कि भले कोई सीनियर हो लेकिन गुरु की ही बात माननी चाहिए, और शायद ये डेस्टिन्ड होगा। मतलब मैं अभी भी वो सोच रही हूँ इसके बारे में, डोंट नो जस्ट।
आपका
तो
प्रश्न
मुझे
क्या है मिसेस तुषार?
दिस वाज आई वाज जस्ट शेयरिंग कि गुरु वाज कॉमन, जो गुरु थे वो कॉमन थे दोनों के लिए, लेकिन वो जो उनके अंकल थे तो वो भी उनके शिष्य ही थे, तो वो उन्होंने अंकल को जो फॉलो किया, तो वो मुझे थोड़ा गड़बड़ लगता है कि वो नहीं करना चाहिए था। ऐसा मेरे मन में लगता है कि वो सिर्फ गुरु की सुनते हैं उनकी, तो शायद उनकी लाइफ कुछ बदल सकती थी, ऐसा लगता है मुझे।
हाँ, अभी इसमें क्या होता है कि गुरु है ना, सभी शिष्य को
हाँ
एक प्रकार की शिक्षा नहीं देते हैं। गुरु's instructions differ from disciple to disciple.
हाँ, यस एग्जैक्टली।
हाँ, सो अभी गुरु ने कौन सी बात ध्यान में रख के उनको इस प्रकार का इंस्ट्रक्शन दिया, आदेश दिया, निर्देश दिया, वो हमें पता नहीं। तो कभी कभी क्या होता है कि हम जो देखते हैं ना किसी के जीवन में, समझो हमको पता है कि उसके गुरु ने उसको वो निर्देश दिया, वो आदेश दिया, तो उस आदेश के कारण, निर्देश के कारण समझो कोई कठिनाई आई उस व्यक्ति के जीवन में, तो हमारी जो समझ है ना, वो मर्यादित है, बहुत नियंत्रित है, बहुत सीमित है। अरे, तो हम उस काइंड ऑफ परिस्थिति को अपनी समझ के अनुसार, अपनी सीमित समझ के अनुसार समझने का प्रयास करते हैं। हमें गुरु का दृष्टिकोण पता नहीं है, हम अपने दृष्टिकोण से उसको समझने का प्रयास करते हैं। तो उसमें क्या है, हमारी सीमित जो दृष्टि है उसके कारण हमसे चूक हो सकती है। तो अभी उनके जीवन में जो भी होता है वो गुरु के कारण हुआ है। अभी गुरु और शिष्य के बीच में क्या संबंध है, उनके बीच में क्या संबंध है, हमें क्या पता। तो हमें क्या उसकी व्याख्या अपनी समझ के अनुसार नहीं करनी चाहिए, मेरा ये मानना है।
Also, I think in this case, like brahmacharya and grahastha are both different. So probably इस वजह से भी mismatch, एक अंकल जो थे वो ब्रह्मचार्य थे और वो गृहस्थ थे, तो उसका भी डिफरेंस हो सकता है कि दोनों एक कोई शिक्षा दोनों के लिए अप्लाई नहीं हो सकती शायद, प्रॉब्ली इस वजह से कुछ।
हाँ,
मुझे इसके आगे पूछना था, तो मतलब
गुरु है
अभी
ना अपने शिष्य को उसकी शिष्य की क्षमता के अनुसार, उनकी समझ के अनुसार निर्देश देते हैं।
अच्छा,
हाँ,
तो मुझे उसके आगे पूछना अभी ये था कि जो वो दूसरा छोटा शिष्य है, तो उसने उसको फॉलो किया, तो क्या ये डेस्टिन हो सकता है कि मतलब उसको वो ये कर रहा था, ब्लाइंडली फॉलो कर रहा था वो, तो ऐसा डेस्टिनी हो सकता है क्या? ऐसा मुझे थोड़ा कि इतना सिंसियर, उतना फॉलोअर आदमी ऐसा कैसे हो सकता है, ऐसा थोड़ा सा मुझे ये हो रहा है इसके लिए।
हाँ, अभी देखिए सिंसियरिटी है, तो अगर इतनी निष्ठा है उनकी अपने गुरु के वचनों में और उस प्रकार से अपना जीवन व्यतीत करते हैं, तो वो तो प्रशंसनीय है ना। That is admirable. We should appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing.
Okay.
Anybody else wants to share something before we conclude? Last call. So we conclude here today's discussion. Thank you very much everybody for participating today actively, more actively, and please keep on doing that. जब भी actively आप share करते हैं, session interactive होती है, then we can feel more kind of motivated. It becomes more interesting for many of us. Of course, the spiritual topics are generally naturally motivating, but it becomes more interesting to participate.
Lovely. So we have our next class, which is going to be.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Trupti ji,
Thank
Varsha
you.
ji, thank you very much.
हमारा next
Thanks,
class
everyone.
जो है, that is going to be after 15 days. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am.
26th.
Okay, everybody. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Tripti ji, we've got the schedule. I've already sent it to Sharmaji.
Yes.
Yes, I have. Thank you. Thank
That
you.
is 26th.
Because Garima had posted it in the group and I had already
Yes.
forwarded to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
Thank
everybody.
you.